dark times had us praying for some brighter days. Wishing well, but I'm really hoping for a change. Yeah.
This is Changemakers. I'm Eric Alvarez here with Ashley Holt as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month. Now, Ashley, there are a number of ways in which we can do that. Big societal changes and celebrating the changemakers there, but also changes in our own personal interactions. And I know you're very excited about our next guest, so why don't you go ahead and introduce her?
I have lost sleep. I have tossed and turned over how to narrow down the questions I have for this woman. We are joined by Alessandra Conti. We love having her on the show. She is a matchmaker, dating expert for the stars. Alessandra, we have to talk about the dating relationship landscape and why it feels so, dare I say, Eric, treacherous at the moment.
Sure.
For women specifically, because it's Women's History Month, and I don't want people to think we're leaving communities out. My questions are largely based on just personal experience.
Okay.
So I'm not leaving anyone out. I am selfishly asking Alessandra questions. Okay, Alessandra, I want to start broadly here to kind of set the stage, because I feel like every generation feels like they have it harder than the last, right? Is dating different, more challenging for us as women than it was for our parents and grandparents?
I mean, absolutely. It's such a different dating landscape. And I think that just talking about the paradox of choice.
One effect, paradoxically, is that it produces paralysis rather than liberation. With so many options to choose from, people find it very difficult to choose at all.
It's a great place to really begin. And it's really a psychological and a scientific concept of this paradox of choice, where with the dating apps, with online and all of the different dating app options, and it feels like there are so many choices, but at the same time, when you really dwindle it down, there really aren't, because there's so much riffraff that's happening.
Dating is one thing, and we have seen a kind of a shift. You know, a lot of times the control, you can swipe left, you can swipe right. There's a lot more control in that. But also, once a relationship has been established, I personally have seen more women issuing proposals, marriage proposals. There's a lot more agency. You know, what is behind that? Because that can't be technology. It's got to be a mindset sort of shift, no?
I mean, I'm old school, and to me, that just a woman proposing, it's
painful to hear about.
It's painful. So in this world that we're living in, there's masculine and there's feminine. There's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. And in a relationship, there has to be that polarity of the masculine and the feminine. And I know that sometimes what I say is a little bit controversial, but when you actually break it down, it's really not.
And I actually wanted to talk to you about masculine and feminine energy, and I want to clarify what you're saying. So you are not saying that, like, because this is what would be controversial. You're not saying a relationship is only a man and a woman. You're saying there's usually a balance of energies, whether it's two men, two women, a man and a woman, a group of people. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there are multiple different types of relationships. You're just saying there's a balance of energy.
So many of these women are bringing their kind of work persona into their dating persona. And that is really, it's not effective, because they're kind of approaching their dating life like they would approach, you know, a meeting or an interview, like a job interview that they're trying to land. And so that is, you know, technically, quote unquote, their masculine energy. But when it comes to dating, I teach literally what I call vacation dating and the vacation dating mindset, because it helps women to turn that work switch off and turn vacation mode on.
Ashley, I'm curious.
I knew this was coming my way, Alessandra.
I'm curious, because we all have our interpersonal styles in dealing with relationships. You know, back when I was younger in my dating days, I kind of just sat back and I would just...
Really?
Yeah, I would play the more mysterious card. And I would see if someone had the confidence to come talk to me. But this is truly fascinating, this dynamic.
Oh, honey, this is all they talk about on the TikTok. And the word that they always use, Alessandra, is submissiveness.
Independent women do submit to men. You just have to actually be a man. These men call women masculine because they don't want to be held accountable for not being man enough for them.
And I think the question of translation is really good. And so, Alessandra, I do wonder, how do I put this? How do you choose the right person to submit to? Because I'm not going to submit to any Tom, Dick, or Harry out here. Because I let you lead me and you lead me to the end of the ocean, I have a problem with that. So how do you know who's supposed to lead you?
No, I know. I just, the word submit, it's a lot. Something about it gives me like I get the ick from the word submission. Mm-hmm. I think they're somewhere in the middle. But the beautiful part about dating is that when you're letting a man lead in little things, you can really be cognizant of how he's going to lead in bigger things. Yep. So even when you go on a date, like maybe you would normally, go on the date and you would, automatically just be like, waiter, excuse me, I want this.
That's me.
Okay.
And just relax and let the man lead and say, you know what? Listen, I'm so open. Like, why don't you order for me?
But just keeping in mind that we're all different. And if I were on a date and the woman said, will you order for me? That to me would be a sign that perhaps this person is unsure of themselves, when that might not necessarily be the case, because as we've already established here, they can be leading a Fortune, company. They could be doing all sorts of things. And so I don't know that that would be for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe the question is then, how do you make it translate? Like, I feel like a lot of women feel like we have to be like, okay, I'm going to be like super whatever on the date, right? Even though I know I'm this way. Like, at what point do you unleash who you really are? Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the balance?
I'm always just going to go bold. Like, you just be who you are.
Eric, I think that the problem with the advice of just be yourself is that, which I love that. I think it is important to be yourself in all of these other areas, but this is specifically advice for women who want to be in a relationship where they can really just sit back and they can be in that feminine energy space. If a woman is coming in being like, you know what, I want to be the driving force, and that's fine, then she's going to get different dating advice.
I think the bridge between what you're saying and what Eric is saying is, I think the woman who wants to be in charge of her relationship can find that very easily. There are plenty of men on this planet, I'm talking about a specific type of relationship. There are plenty of men on this planet who would love to have a woman show up, spend the money, plan things, take care of the kid. There are plenty of men who want that. So like, that's not what's hard to find. And I think that's the bridge between what you're talking about, is that both are available, but one is a lot easier to get than the other. I think that's kind of like the middle ground here. But Alessandra, I want to end on this note. I feel like across generations, people have always said, like, go with your gut. When you know, you know. And I think that the question for people who haven't found that yet is like, how true is that? Am I really gonna know? Because some people are like, I thought I knew before, and it was a train wreck.
I mean, from my experience, I think that can be kind of a toxic statement, like the when you know, because I also think that people suffer from anxiety and overthinking. And if you tell somebody with anxiety, like, oh, your intuition is gonna, then you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, well, what does my intuition say? And like, so it's sometimes like it's separating anxiety from, from the when you know, you know. But I think that the best way to know is through time and through experience. And are you feeling generally like is 80 or 90% of the relationship? Are you feeling, positive about it? Are you enjoying spending time with this person? Because I'm also a big believer that you select your soulmate at the end of the day. You'll select the person that you are meant to be with for the rest of your life. You're not going to make the wrong decision. So just enjoy this time. I know that it is hard to do. It's easier said than done, but enjoy. In 10 years, I've seen if people want to be in a relationship, they will. Okay? So it's just enjoying the process. It's the climb, as the great Miley Cyrus once said.
The climb.
Climb.